Alright, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the North Coast Brewing Company, and they're headquartered in Fort Bragg, California, and this is their Stellar IPA. So this is an IPA that comes in at 6.5% alcohol by volume, 59 IBUs, and at the time of review, this bottle is just under 4 months old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Billy, for this beer. So huge thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the Beer Mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he sent my way, and he sent me an entire box of North Coast beer, 7 different beers, 3 of them IPAs, 2 of them lagers, 1 Berliner Weiss, and 1 Old Ale. And I'm super stoked because outside of like the big offerings from North Coast, so your Old Rasputin, your Old Stock Ale, maybe Brother Thelonious, their Scrimshaw, German-style Pils, and their Tart Cherry Berliner Weiss, we do not see a lot of other stuff from them. I have never seen an IPA here in the Buffalo, New York area. I can't recall a single IPA from them. So I'm really excited about it. However, the one disappointing thing about a couple of the beers, and Billy, when he sent off the beer mail, he's like, man, I forgot to check the dates. They should all be fresh because he bought them from the brewery. However, 2 of the IPAs are just under 4 months old, and the Berliner Weiss, which is the Tart Cherry Berliner Weiss, was just under 6 months old. The fact he bought them at the brewery and they're that old is kind of, in my opinion, somewhat ridiculous. Like, that's insane to go to the brewery, buy it, and have a 3 to 4 month old IPA. But we're going to review it. Billy sent it my way. Hopefully this is held up. This beer specifically, I don't know a lot about it. It just says supporting marine mammal research and rescue. Outside of that, not much. I couldn't find the the hops or anything. They first started brewing this one in 2015, as far as I can tell. So it's been around for a decade. And yeah, anyway, let's crack it open. And when it comes to the dates, you guys know if you watch my channel, I'm not a huge stickler for the dates. I'll drink a 2-3 month old IPA, whatever, no big deal. But I've had the same experience Billy has going to breweries and buying what you think is a fresh hop-forward beer, and then you get home and it's like 3 months old, and you're like, what the hell? They're still selling this at the brewery? Now, I'm hashtag Team Old IPA. Shout out to Joe over at Jow's Arcade. I don't mind drinking some older IPAs, but if I'm trying a beer, and it's specifically an IPA for the first time, and it's almost 4 months old, it's somewhat disappointing because I'm not getting the true representation of what the brewery's going for. But hey, they were selling it at the brewery. Billy bought it. It's unfortunate, but Billy, thank you for sending these my way. I'm hoping this held up. Sometimes you're surprised when it comes to beers like this and them holding up. A lot of old school IPAs are a little bit more shelf stable than a lot of the hazies nowadays. That looks like a beautiful beer, if I'm being honest, though. I'm anticipating, they just say IPA or India Pale Ale. I'm anticipating like a West Coast IPA, or if not, just an old school American IPA. And based on the look of this beer, friends, that's exactly what it is. It has almost a copperish, like a copper, almost like a orange copper color. It definitely looks the roll. You can see, or plays the roll. It has good clarity. You can see my hand through it. Not crystal clear. It's gentle, probably hop haze. About 1.5 fingers to almost 2 fingers of an off-white, somewhat creamy looking head, a little bit of soap sudsy action. Not a ton of carbonation in the glass, but yeah, I mean, it looks kind of what I anticipated it looking like based on what I could see through the bottle. Let's get a nose. Yeah, this is bringing me back to the early 2010s of me trying IPAs. The malts here, it's probably because it's a little bit older, just under 4 months old. It has that slight orange marmalade kind of character on like white bread. Yeah, so it has a nice like bready, slightly caramel, almost like honey kind of malt character. But then that orange pith on top of it, sweeter orange, little bit of like a white grapefruit. It's definitely like a resinous pine. It's not huge, but it's here. Yeah, smells pretty good. So the one thing I've said before, you watch the channel for the last couple of years, whenever I do get an aged IPA, or I get this specific characteristic, orange marmalade on white bread, to me, that's usually a big indication of a faded older IPA. First time I ever got it, I was drinking Avery's the Maharaja, which is a big imperial IPA. I think it's like 9-10%. And I got lost in the back of my fridge. I drank it 9 months old, and it was like orange marmalade on white bread, nothing else. It was delicious, but it didn't taste like probably what it should have. That's the same thing I'm getting here. Almost 4 months old, and I'm getting that orange marmalade on white bread. To me personally, that smells good. It smells tasty. Stylistically, not as much. Like, orange marmalade on white bread, I feel like an English pale ale or something would have that, or like an ESB, right? But yeah, it smells good. Doesn't smell bad. No off flavors. It just smells a bit faded, which I'm sure it is. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, Billy. Appreciate it. And cheers to everybody. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I always got to be honest with my reviews. This is not a bad beer in the least, even with the age on it. But I don't think it's supposed to taste exactly like this because there's not a whole lot going on outside of that orange marmalade character. But I dig it. It's just I can tell it's not what it's supposed to be. Body for 6.5 is impressive. It's like higher side of medium, almost lower full. I know it sounds wild. It has almost a slight syrupy, oily kind of consistency. Like it's not too overbearing. I was gonna say overblown, but I said nothing correct when it comes to the English language. It has a little bit of a richer kind of just body to it, which is kind of different. I'm here for it. Maybe again, sign of age. The mouthfeel, super crisp. This is highly higher side of moderate carbonation. Very crisp on the palate, very effervescent. Smooth on the second half of the palate, but very spritzy at the forefront. So body and mouthfeel are actually pretty nice for 6.5% IPA. The taste, I'm going to bullshit you and say I'm getting, 15 different characters. Forefront, orange marmalade. There's also a little bit of like a caramel kind of bready malt character that dives underneath the palate. So it's orange marmalade on top of like a bready kind of almost like honey caramel malt character. As it passes through, a white grapefruit hits. It's like a pithy, bittering white grapefruit. Middle of the palate, you could maybe say a nondescript like tropical fruit, maybe like a pineapple or something, but I'm probably reaching for that. And the finish has this big resinous feeling to it. Very dry, very bitter. But there's not like a big, floral pine character. It's not a big dankness. It's just kind of like resinous and bitter. This is bone dry with a firm bitterness. This is like a high bitterness to it. It's not astringent, but it's real bitter. And if you've been following the channel recently, like last 6 months to a year, you know that I'm loving dry and bitter old school IPAs. This is a little bit too much in the direction of dry and bitter without any like real big redeeming qualities from the hop character on the finish. So if that was in conjunction with a big floral pine character or like a dankness or something else other than just bitter and resinous, I think I would like this a lot more than I do. And I don't dislike this. I think this is pretty solid considering the age and just the flavors. I like that orange marmalade, as I said, for like the 10th time. I do enjoy it. But you got to call a spade a spade. Almost 4 months old. It's an IPA. There's not a ton of complexity to this one. The drinkability is impeded by that big bitterness and dryness without any really redeeming hop quality on the finish. The body's nice. The mouthfeel's nice. I don't know. I don't know how to rate this. Stylistically, for what it's supposed to be, it's not doing what it should. This is like a 3 out of 5. However, caveat being, this is old. This is almost a 4-month-old IPA. So how do you rate this? I always rate to personal preference on my channel. It's like stylistically, I always try to tell you so. This is like 3 out of 5, but considering it's almost 4 months old, to be expected. How do I enjoy this one? I can't give it a high score just because that bitterness is a little bit too much for me. But I'll give it an okay score because I think it's an okay to solid beer. It's just not blowing my mind or anything, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna give North Coast their Stellar IPA. I'm gonna give this a high 3.5. I'll go 3.55. I think it's good. I think it's enjoyable. I dig it, but I would have loved to have this a bit fresher. And like I said, I don't. Billy's nice enough to send me some beer. He didn't check the dates. He forgot, which happens. But the fact that he picked this up at the brewery and I'm getting it, and it's just under 4 months old, it's kind of wild. But like I said, I've experienced that before at breweries, and it's a shame, but it is what it is. So whatever. Hopefully, the other one, their Pacific Magic. That one was canned or bottled a week after this one. So hopefully that's a little bit better, but it's going to be, again, just under 4 months old by the time I get to it. So anyway, price point availability, I think these on the website were like $11.99 a 6-pack. Yeah, $2 a bottle for a 6.5% IPA. I'm fine with that. And you can buy singles, it seems, at the brewery, which makes sense because Billy sent me 7 different beers. I don't think he bought 6-packs of every single one. Maybe he did, but I did see singles. I think they were like $2.39 or something for a single of this, so that's fine. I wonder if it's one of those things where you're buying, if you, and Billy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you buy like 6-packs, maybe they're fresher, and then the singles are like the older stock. I don't know. That would explain why a couple of them are older, but we'll see. The availability is North Coast. I have no idea. I'm sure they have a beer finder. Here, like I said, in Buffalo, in the last 2 years, I've seen Old Rasputin, Old Stock, Scrimshaw, and their brother Thelonious. I've not seen, and their Tart Cherry Berliner Weiss. I've seen those 5. However, the Scrimshaw, when I saw it 2 different places, was already over 6 months old. And Old Rasputin, and probably Old Rasputin's the easiest to get, but Old Stock is hit or miss. The barrel-aged version of those hit or miss. So we don't regularly see all of them, but you do see some of them. And the other beers he sent my way, again, 2 other IPAs. He did send me the Scrimshaw. He did send me the Tart Cherry Berliner Weiss. I'm not going to re-review it because I already reviewed it years ago. I'll just enjoy that off camera. He did send me Old Stock Ale and a couple, and another lager. They're a dark Mexican style lager. I forget the name of it. Laguna something. Baja, I think it is. But yeah, I'm going to get to all of these beers in the next month or so. I'm probably going to post them once per week. So 6.5%, you really can't tell. Just kind of a bummer because Billy, nice enough to send out a nice beer mail, and then 3 of the 7 beers are pretty much out of date. And that's wild to me. Going to the brewery, picking them up, and that's how it is. I don't know. Anyway, Billy, appreciate it, buddy. I can't wait to get into the other ones, see if they're a bit better than this one, but 3.55 out of this one. So if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. I think this is pretty solid, albeit not exactly what it should be. It is what it is. To the next one. Cheers.